Hey, collective. It's me, Breann. I help neurodiverse kids, 2E learners, improve their social skills with a simple brain-based approach. And tonight I wanted to do a little mini training on how learning to read the room can help reduce social anxiety. So if you're with me, if you're watching this live, then say hello. It might be late where you live, or you might be doing that bedtime shuffle right now. And if you're catching the replay, then just drop a replay in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. First of all, we have over 100 members in our collective now. So yay, woo! I'm super excited about that. So thank you for being here. All right, let's get into it. So this training is for anyone who has a human in their life who struggles with interpreting social information, like taking bits and pieces of like the social landscape and putting it together to make meaning. And that can create anxiety when you're born to a brain that struggles with putting details into the whole. All right. So being able to take the small pieces and get the gestalt or the big picture. And so I want to help you help your people do that more effectively. And I have a really good example of doing this myself tonight. So if you're watching and you have a kiddo, or maybe your brain is this way, or you're married to someone who struggles with this, then I hope that you find value. So reading the room is, like I said, taking pieces, putting it together, and making meaning so that you can problem solve in a way that figures out the hidden rules of a situation or the hidden expectations so that you can act accordingly. So this is especially tough when you're going into something new, like first day of school, or you're going to summer camp and you're like, I don't really know what's going to happen here. So could be a novel thing, could be that you're just born to a brain that struggles with this. So here's some, first a story about how I got to experience this firsthand tonight, which is kind of funny. So I finished up doing a social group with some teenage clients and heard this weird pop, went out into the kitchen, and there were black beans everywhere. My husband looked shocked. And so my brain was taking in those pieces. There was splatter on the ceiling. There were beans all over the place. My husband said, "Did you hear that?" And I did hear something. And it turns out that a can of beans like went bad and exploded when my husband opened it. And so my brain was trying to figure out, that's not something that happens every day, thankfully. And so my brain was trying to make sense of like, what happened here? And so I was reading the room, and then my husband said, the beans exploded. And so then I could problem solve and help him clean up the mess. And so that's just a little example that I experienced tonight about what it means to read the room so that you can problem solve and do what is expected for the situation. So when our brains don't do this easily, it makes us feel nervous, and we're not really sure if we're safe or, like how to be calm when we're not sure what we're walking into. And so I want to give you some ways that you can help your humans work on this. So one thing would be, if you're going out in the world and you go to a grocery store, you might try to play a guessing game on, like, I wonder what happens here. And maybe that's the little, coffee kiosk, and see if you can be a social detective and figure out I wonder what happens in that area. So depending on how old your kiddo is and how sharp their brain is with these skills, then, this isn't going to be for everybody. So if you got young kids who are just trying to figure out what happens in the world, then this is something you can practice. If your kiddo struggles with this and they're older, this still works, okay? You can do that in different parts of stores. And you're really trying to figure out, like, what happens here, and you're taking in clues, all right? So one thing might be going to the deli counter, and if they have a number that you take, or maybe you have to just figure out when it's your turn. So that would be something I would narrate if I was doing this and I wanted to help someone figure this out. I might say, I see people standing around. I wonder how I know when it's my turn. It looks like I might be after the guy in the striped shirt. Or, oh, it looks like, the workers are calling numbers. I wonder how I get a number. And then you might look around and see that there's the little wheel where you take the ticket from. So doing a lot of narrating can really help sharpen these skills. Another thing you can do is have different themes out, or maybe you're making making dinner and you have some things sitting out and you invite, your child in and say, we're going to play Guess What's for Dinner game. Okay. And they have to figure out, based on what is sitting out, they are reading the room to figure out, I wonder what's for dinner. So I hope this idea is making sense. If this is making sense, please let me know in the comments. Drop a 1 or say, got it, making sense, so that I know that this makes sense to you. Breaking down these skills into fun games is a great way to teach kids how to learn how to read the room and how to help them reduce their anxiety when they are going into something new. And even just the everyday thing, like going into school, learning the routines, those types of things. If you can practice these games outside of school, it's going to sharpen the brain's muscles of taking in information, figuring out what is relevant in the landscape. And that's another thing, is that you can just asking your child, what do you see on the playground? Because if you're not really sure, I don't really know how much information they're taking in. Get them to name things that they see so that you can get an idea of, oh, wow, my kid really sees, very distinct features of a whole landscape. Knowing where they are will help you know how that you can help build these muscles and these skills in the brain if this is a personal social goal that is important to your people. So I'm going to park it there for now. I will be doing some more of these trainings, and tomorrow, if you're catching this live or in the replay right afterwards, so tomorrow is Thursday. It's formally tax day, but we have an extension this year. I'm going to be doing an interview that you do not want to miss tomorrow, doing a retrospective with a parent who has raised 3 2E kiddos, talking about lessons learned. So you don't want to miss that tomorrow morning. If this was valuable, drop a value in the comments. If you're like, hey, can you connect with me on this? This doesn't make sense to me. Drop a connect. I'm happy to do some more teaching or reach out to you and help your family however you need support in this area. Thank you for watching. I will see you on the flip side. Adios.